Hello again and welcome to Union Insider, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Here's what we have coming up for you over the next 30 minutes. Lori Lindsey will be on the call tomorrow night for the Union-San Jose game, but she'll be here first. The Apple analyst joins me in just a few to discuss how the Union can get their regular season back on track following another disappointing result. Plus, Sheanon joins me on set to get the lowdown on one of Major League Soccer's newest superstars, who's coming to town this weekend. His name is Tim Werner, and he's making an instant impact for the Earthquakes already. But first, we have to revisit the end of last weekend's game against New York City. The Union had been swarmed by NYCFC in the first half and conceded once as a result. But that wasn't the team we saw at the end of 90 minutes. Here's a look at those final moments, which are some the team will look to build on as they turn the page towards another home match.
Makanya surveying. Kozanowski down under the challenge. Now then, referee has set penalty. And Thiago Martins can't believe it. With 4 minutes to play.
Martins has his arms all around Kozanowski. You just see top of your screen, both of those players locking in. Kozanowski does such a good job just to feel where Martins is. Just the last second. Now listen, that's pretty soft compared to the previous one that was a no call.
Indiana Vasilev, the player that Bradley Carnell brought to Philadelphia after they worked together at St. Louis City. A player he knows, a player he trusts to deliver in the big moments, the vital moments, even on match day 2. For a team that have lacked bite and been unable to deliver in front of goal in the dying embers of the game, it's Indiana Vasilev for Philadelphia Union. He scores! And in the dying embers of the game, Philadelphia Union bite back and find their bite late on.
We said coming into this second half that Philadelphia needed to find that bite. They needed to continue to push, make New York City uncomfortable. Well, they've done that throughout. They made some ample substitutions that gave them a little bit more life, found the width more frequently, and certainly put New York City in a position where they've had to defend the majority of this second half.
Carlos Magno back in New York City colours. Carlos Magno unable to deliver, behind for a corner.
Really good work from Carlos Magno. Not a ton in terms of the ability in the attack right now for New York City this second half, and a way to take the sting out of this crowd, out of the Philadelphia Union, earn set pieces.
McCann has been sent off for a second yellow card. Frustrated after the corner was awarded, McCann punched the air in frustration. Protests aimed towards the referee, and in doing so receives a second yellow card.
And right there you see him unhappy with the call.
Ojeda's ball in, heading towards goal, it's in! It's in for New York City! Can you believe it?
So the team will look to secure its first regular season win against San Jose tomorrow night. This is the first full week of training for the boys in some time, something the Union will hope has a positive impact as they look to right the ship. First full week of training since preseason, heading into the second home game of the year this weekend. What has been the main objectives for your team as you keep looking for that first MLS win of the season?
Yeah, of course. It has been a good start for us, and we have really high standards, I think. So, it's just improving, trying to get prepared as best as possible for San Jose, and holding ourselves to high standards that we've set from years before. So it's been really important to get back on the pitch and get some good training sessions in and get fully prepared for the match Saturday.
I had quite a long film session yesterday before getting out there on the pitch. Is there anything you saw during that you might have missed during the match, or that you're going to focus on during this week in the lead up to San Jose?
Yeah, of course. Of course, when you're losing, I think also things seem to be, exemplified. But of course, it's important to get in the film room, and the coaches and whole staff does a great job of making sure we're prepared, and also, calling us out for things we need to improve on. And whether we win or lose, I think that's important. So, of course, it hasn't been good enough, and the staff knows that, and the players do. So, we're going to do everything we can to make sure we're prepared, and try and get a win as best we can.
What have been the focuses this week as your team still tries to get that first win in the MLS season?
Yeah, and we looked at film from the past 2 games we had. Definitely not the results we wanted, especially not at home. It should be 3 points at home, as we know, and we let it slip away against New York on the weekend. But at the same time, we're happy to finally have a full week of training preparation for San Jose and keep them the main focus and not deal with Champions Cup and the MLS play.
You mentioned watching film yesterday. You had quite a long session before you got back out there on the pitch. Is there anything from that film session that kind of maybe opened your eyes to some things you might not have seen during the game, or anything in specific that you guys kind of harped on?
Yeah, it's just mainly us. New York, they had a few spells, but nothing crazy. I think what I took away from film, what we all took away from film, was a lot of the errors were our own. It's something that we're in control of, and that's what we've talked about this week. Being able to control the controllables, and I think if we start with that, then the dominoes will fall in the right direction, and we'll put some in the back of the net.
Here to talk about this weekend's match and a whole lot more is Apple TV analyst, U.S. Women's National Team and Philadelphia Independence legend, and also a current Philly resident. It's Lori Lindsey. Thanks for making some time. I know you're busy prepping to call this matchup tomorrow night.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And yes, Philly. I love when I'm talking to my Philly friends.
So we're going to talk some more Timo Werner with Sheanon Williams later on in the show. But Lori, I want your view of this move. How does he fit into San Jose's team?
Yeah, it's an excellent move. And I think it's one of the things that Bruce Arena was talking about in the offseason, just the organization's desire to bring in high quality players, spend more money on players, and he fits that perfectly. I also think when you look at some of the attackers that they lost, Joseph Martinez, Arango, Espinoza, they needed to fill those gaps of those players that they lost. And Werner could play central forward, he can play out wide. And so in a player that has proven himself in Europe. So excellent pickup in my opinion. And I think we're just going to continue to see him build into this team and find even more cohesion.
So far in 2026, the Quakes have scored 5 and conceded none, one of 4 teams to win their first 2 matches. Lori, Bruce Arena isn't doing it again with another team, is he?
Yeah, he certainly is. I covered a lot of his games when he was with the Revs, because we're very much more regionalized within Major League Soccer with our broadcasts. But it's not surprising what he's done. I mean, one of the things that you always feel with Bruce Arena's teams is just the buy-in from the players, the desire. I think when you look at the amount of players that have come from the Revs now are with the Quakes, that speaks for itself. So not surprising. I think he does a very good job of getting the most out of his players, making players feel comfortable and part of the progress of what's taking place under his leadership. But and it's not surprising that they've started off where they are. 2 games at home, 5 goals in their favor, 0 against. We know they scored a lot of goals last year. They needed to replace that. But I would say defensively, they've done a good job. But this game this weekend is going to be a huge matchup and a good test, I think, for the Quakes playing away from home, and especially against the Philadelphia Union. Even though they haven't started off as good as they'd want, they're still going to press. They're still going to have these tendencies that we've come to know about the Philadelphia Union.
So I want to bring in a little World Cup chatter as well. It being 2026 and all, Jamaica is taking on New Caledonia in the playoff tournament semifinals later this month. The winner then playing the Democratic Republic of Congo a few days later. The winner of that one is World Cup bound. Lori, what are the chances Union fans will see Andre Blake in a World Cup?
Now, listen, I'm actually going to be on that call, so this is exciting for me. But I think it's a great opportunity, and there could be I think we could see Andre Blake for sure at the World Cup, which, given how much he's meant, a legend of the Union. I mean, he is consistently such an important part and one of the first names on the team sheet, even to this day, for all the years. Personally, I think it would be, I would love that for him. And I think for all Philadelphia and Philadelphia Union fans, it would be a huge honor and they would love to celebrate him.
Now on the U.S. men's national team front, we got news this week that the final roster announcement will come on May 26th. What are you watching closest ahead of that big reveal?
I think mostly just who's the healthiest, who's in great form, and also who Pochettino actually picks for the final roster. I mean that's pretty general, but I think one of the things that we've all been looking for is how does this team come together, the cohesion, what's the flexibility in terms of how they play tactically. So I'm just really looking forward to how everybody, or who he finally picks and what that starting 11 is going to look like.
Bringing it back to the Union before we let you go, other than what we've talked about already, why should fans be excited to tune in to the broadcast this weekend? Other than to hear you, of course.
Yeah, exactly. And Jordan, our producer, is a great friend of ours. We'll be producing that game. Mike Watts, who I usually call games with. So listen, those are some of the reasons. But on field, I think this is going to be a great opportunity, going 0-2 right now for the Philadelphia Union, still playing some really quality soccer, just not getting the results. Second game at home in a row. So I expect them to fight, press, and this is the Quakes team that'll have their first game on the road and are 2-0. So who can take the points? But I think the midfield battle is going to be the key. Who can win first and second balls? Who can generate the attack and not allow any sort of transition moments on either side?
Thanks so much for joining us, Lori. Looking forward to seeing you at Subaru Park.
Yes, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
We're back in a minute, but before we break, here's this week's trivia question presented by United Concordia. When was the last time the Union lost 2 straight MLS games to start a season? The answer, and the silver lining to go with, comes later in the show. Union Insider is back after this. Welcome back to Union Insider. The role of an assistant coach is an important one in the modern game. BJ Callahan and Pat Noonan, 2 former Union assistants, now have head coaching jobs in Major League Soccer. Mitch Hildebrandt is occupying that role now on Bradley Carnell's coaching staff. Here's a behind-the-scene look at how he operates.
I met Brad at a coaching course. We just so happened to be in the same A-licensed coaching course for a weekend. We developed a rapport, and when he was putting a staff together for St. Louis, we were talking and he asked me if I'd like to come out, and so I became an analyst, and that was really what kind of kickstarted my coaching career.
Should we give him the 2-minute warning?
Looking at the game through an analyst lens really helped me see the game in a different light. Plus, I'd never played in this system before, so this was totally new for me.
You go right from the start, sharp right from the start. Good. Now we dribble, drive, take somebody on, accelerate out. Get that acceleration. Accelerate out, get his head, yep, good. Yep.
My personal role is I'm in charge of the tactical match plans and opposition work, so along with helping Bradley with the day-to-day training. So a staff in a professional organization, whether it's soccer, football, basketball, you spend more time with these people than you do with your own families at times. So to have a real connection with these guys is so important.
Send it in here, B. Oh, yeah.
We're just one group that's going to a common goal. So we're not above the players aren't above us, we're working together. So us being in training and have the banter with them, and they know that, you know, when we ask them to do something, it's for the benefit and they listen, but then there's a time to turn it off and joke around. Here in Clearwater, it's more of prep for the regular season.
If the 10s are staying like wide, especially on your side with Augie, if he's staying wide, then maybe you can come inside.
Spain was the real kind of onboarding. We're driving the principles, we're driving more video, but now here in Clearwater, the guys can kind of rest, get a normal rhythm going into the game.
They want to get the ball into the channel, so if we're having Nate and Frankie to be ultra aggressive, gotta shift early.
We're gonna have so many games that we're gonna need every single person on our 30-man roster.
Nice and calm.
They need to be fully integrated, both socially and athletically into the group.
That one was on target though.
Still to come on Union Insider, presented by Independence Blue Cross, Tim Werner burst off the bench and onto the score sheet in his debut for the Quakes last weekend. Could he get his first MLS start tomorrow night? We discuss when we return. Back with this week's Union Update, presented by Torque. The Union will face Club America in the round of 16 of this year's CONCACAF Champions Cup. This is a rematch of 2021 semifinal, with the first leg to take place at Subaru Park on March 10th. The return leg in Mexico City is set for March 18th. Broadcast coverage for both will be on Fox Sports 2. Back here on set, where Sheanon Williams joins me to talk a little bit more about the Quakes' newest weapon, Tim Werner. Sheanon, we saw he still got that burst that he was renowned for in the European game. What's your scouting report?
Yeah, came on for his debut last week and got himself an assist. This is an ex-German international player that has 57 caps and 24 goals. So obviously a big splash for San Jose, somebody that brings a lot of pace to this group and somebody that'll look to stretch that back line.
We've talked a ton about the Quakes today, but let's talk about the U. It's time for Keys to the Game, presented by Subaru. Sheanon, what's your key to a Union win this weekend?
My first key to a Union win is going to be for them to use the width a little bit more effectively. We saw in that last game it was so congested up the middle. Can they do a better job of getting their outside backs high and wide to provide some of that width and open up some space for those 10s?
You have another key for me?
My second key to the game is going to be good in defensive transition. We talked about Tim Werner and that pace. Can they do a better job of keeping things in front of them? That back line needs to be aware at all times of making sure they know where he's at.
One more hydration break to sneak in. When we return, we'll tackle how the boys in blue can hit the ground running against the Quakes this weekend. Union Insider, presented by Independence Blue Cross, returns after this. We're back with the answer to this week's trivia question, presented by United Concordia. When was the last time the Union lost 2 straight MLS games to start a season? The answer, 2019, but the boys in blue pulled off a 4-game unbeaten streak right after and then lost only once in their next 10 games. Hopefully a similar streak will start tomorrow night. Time for this week's final whistle discussion, presented by Allstate. This week's discussion, what's the key to a better first half performance?
For me, it's just for them to be a little bit more aggressive from the start of the game. I think it's been early season woes in terms of coming out and trying to be a little bit safe in the way you play things. Other teams are also looking to just pick up points, especially when they're on the road. So this Union team really needs to be the aggressor when the game starts and not let this game get away. They've also given up 2 first half goals, which leads to them chasing in that second half. So I think if they can take more control and not give up that first half goal, you'll see a better performance from this Union team overall.
Now, we talked about this with Lori a little bit earlier. San Jose has yet to concede in MLS play, but the Philadelphia Union has yet to score in the run of play in MLS play. How do you think that shakes out this weekend?
Yeah, obviously they're going to try to do some things to shut down this Union offense that's looked highs and lows so far this season. Can the Union do a good job of being dangerous, especially when they're at home? San Jose has posted 2 goose eggs so far to start the season. So hopefully that streak will end once they come to Subaru Park. Obviously the long travel plays into that. So again, this is a great opportunity for the Union to get their first win of the season.
Ezekiel Alado will make his Subaru Park Major League Soccer debut this weekend after missing last game because he was out with a red card. Do you think that could spark the offense a little bit?
Absolutely. Anytime you have your record signing back and available for the game, it's definitely going to make a huge difference. Union fans are so excited to see what he can do in Subaru Park, and hopefully some home cooking will do him well.
And on the other end of the field, that back line, Oeto Makanya will be out this match. So what do you think Bradley Carnell will do in terms of making that back four?
Yeah, we've seen a little bit of this before. We've seen Nate Harrell move into center back. They also have Martinez, who they could use. So we'll have to see who Bradley Carnell decides to go with. Obviously, don't love that we're going to have to reshuffle the back line again. Still looking for that consistency, but hopefully they can put out a group that can take care of this San Jose attack.
And we might get some pretty decent weather this weekend, Sheanon. What's your message to fans on why they should come out and watch this game on the riverfront at Super Park?
I've been in Philly for 15 years now, and there's no better place than Chester on a nice day, especially down on the water. It's one of the best places to be and supporting your favorite club. So it's going to be a great game. And again, this Union team needs to get off to a good start here and get themselves 3 points.
That'll do it for this edition of Union Insider. The Union look to get back to winning ways against San Jose this weekend. Hope to see you at Subaru Park, but if not, catch all the action on Apple TV. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. For Lori Lindsey, Sheanon Williams, and our entire crew, thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next week.